Hey, movie fans, and welcome back to another episode of the WarnerMedia podcast. This is going to be we are normally a positive podcast, but, also, this is episode 170. Wow. I knew my brain was going a specific section. Sometimes you just get an autopilot and you veer off the road a little bit into a ditch. It's okay.
But Ron,
I'll ask Josh about that later, though.
Yeah.
My brain, it's normally, we talk about positive things. When we initially were making our notes, there wasn't a lot of news. And honestly, in terms of concrete news, there's not a lot of movie news this week. We kind of are making some stuff up. Not making stuff up, but making bigger deals of stuff of nothing, basically. In conjunction with the release of Morbius, we're going to talk about the worst movies we've ever seen.
I didn't think that was going to be the segue, but I'm here for it. Let's go.
To be fair, neither of us have seen Morbius, but we've seen the reviews for Morbius.
Yes. It's definitely going to be one of those movies. I think I'm going to wait until it goes on, what, HBO Max?
Stars, I think, first, for some reason.
So, Hulu. Got it.
Yeah. So, we actually kind of had some issues with this we set the parameters of it has to be movies that we've seen. Like, there's the Hall of Fame of bad movies. But there's been plenty of those that, since they're in the Hall of Fame of bad, we have not seen them. I have not seen Birdemic yet in my lifetime. I actually think Heather has, though, which is odd.
That's odd.
The stipulations are we have to have seen the movie. We can't ironically love them, so Wicker Man and Drive Angry, those type of movies will not be here.
Yeah,
we genuinely fully have to hate these movies and think they're just the worst we've ever seen. That's about the only stipulations we have for this. We haven't been negative in a while, or at least we try not to be. But Josh, how you doing tonight?
I'm chilling, my dude. It's really funny because I think you and I were texting back and forth most of today. It's like I had to adjust my list because I realized there's only maybe 2 or 3 movies I genuinely hate and like despise, and I thought 5 good things has ruined us. Like we are able to see good in almost in a lot of films nowadays. So, but we'll get into it eventually, I guess.
You watching anything?
No, I watched Jack this week. Outside of the first episode of Moon Knight.
Ooh, yes. Let's talk Moon Knight before.
Yes.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Dude, it was so good. This is so cringe, but it was the first episode of like a Marvel TV show where I clapped afterwards. For obvious reasons.
So how much? Yeah, Oscar Isaac being the obvious reason.
But I was super hyped, and like the obvious reason being the last like 5 minutes of the episode. But like, gosh dang, like my dad is not like a how do I say this? Like a thriller type movie kind of lover. Like he likes exciting movies, but like stuff where that's like, oh, he's been dead the whole time, like that kind of storytelling. It doesn't go over his head. It's just not his thing. But like this, he was in for it, and it was like, to me, that was a good sign. And just like the last 5 minutes, Oscar Isaac switching back and forth between the 2 accents, like, oh gosh, it's so cool. He's great, and just all the little details, and I can't wait to dive into more tomorrow, or well, I guess when this episode airs, it'll be
tomorrow.
Today,
yeah.
But.
Like I liked Oscar Isaac enough in the first episode, but I'm looking at just the first episode, my favorite character has to be Ethan Hawke. Like I love that introduction with the glass and the shoe, and like walking through the city. I'm like, this is weird, and I like it. Like Ethan Hawke isn't one of those like super weird people like Jared Leto. But he's kind of got a little bit of weirdness in him. Like, supposedly that first scene was improv of him with the glass and everything. I'm like, I don't know if I want to meet you, Ethan Hawke. You're working through some stuff. But yeah, that ending of episode 1, I'm going, I like this.
It.
This is like
It's
slowly
so cool.
dipping its toe into the spoopy. Now, I have a checklist of things that I want in Moon Knight. But they will never happen because it's on Disney Plus. I need I know it's not an actual comic book panel, but I need random BS. Go. I
Yes.
need that. But more importantly, Dracula, where's my money? I need that for my inner HHN lover. That was a running joke at 29 of you ask Dracula where the money is. He owes you money. I need that in Moon Knight. I don't think we're ever going to get it, but
No.
I need it.
I know. See, but like, I think we're closer than we think we are. Because gosh dang, there's some of the ways that in that car chase that people exit the car chase that is not like Disney friendly, but it's like also the most PG-13 way to do it. Like there's a whole car that legitimately gets crushed by a log truck, and there's no blood. It's just cool. It's good. It's a good episode. Um, I genuinely because this is me. I checked some comments on some of the stuff, and there were like people like, I don't get it. It's stupid. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, shut up, dude. Whatever. Have you heard? And this is totally a little rabbit trail, but Moon Knight related. How Ethan Hawke got involved with Moon Knight.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so Oscar Isaac apparently like it's during the pandemic, right? And so everybody's standing outside getting coffee at this coffee shop because you can't go in. Everyone's just standing there masked up and everything. And Ethan's like just standing in line, and all of a sudden some stranger comes up to him and is like, "Hey man, I really liked you in this, blah blah blah." And he's like, "Oh yeah, okay, but yeah, appreciate it." And then like at some point, like they have like a short conversation, realizes that it's Oscar having telling him how much he loves like his movies and stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, like hey, like can I send you like a script, like blah blah blah, like I would love for you to be in on this project, whatever." And then puts him in contact with the director, and it was like the weirdest. Ethan, like you'll have to look it up. He's like, it's the weirdest conversation to have with a stranger where he just comes up and starts complimenting you right off the bat. And then the video I saw, he's like, which is my favorite conversation to have. But you know, it's such like there's been so much fun stuff going into like the creation of Moon Knight, and like even Oscar Isaac has said he's like, I tried to read the comics. And it was weird. I was like, yeah, it is, buddy. We believe, we trust us, we know.
This is not a spoiler, guys. This is not a spoiler for Moon Knight. It's just speculation on our part. I cannot wait for the day that Oscar Isaac's Moon Knight meets Mahershala Ali's Blade. Like,
yes,
let's go. Meets Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider in the mix. Oh, let's do this. Like, Cage's Ghost Rider's coming. Mark my words. Whether it's just in Multiverse of Madness. I only saw one thing this past week, but I'll put it on record. This is going to be the surprise movie of 2022. If y'all were disappointed with Uncharted as an adventure movie, go out and see The Lost City instead. I'm not joking. So, like, some of the trailers look funny enough. So, Heather, myself, and my parents went out to City Walk, went out to celebrate my dad's birthday, and then we saw The Lost City. We were laughing pretty solidly for most of this entire movie. It's not a perfect movie. It definitely has some issues, but The Lost City is what Uncharted wanted to be. It actually had adventure music. I'm still not over that. It actually had fun adventure. The only issue is it's supposed to be a treasure hunting movie of like a romance novelist actually used to be an archaeology expert. The archaeology part kind of takes a back seat depending on when the story feels like it. And Sandra Bullock, I love Sandra Bullock, but she kind of phoned it in on this movie. She was probably the weakest character, which is weird to say. Every issue I have, though, with her goes out the window when it comes to the beautifulness that is Channing Tatum and Brad frickin' Pitt. Oh my god. See this movie for Brad Pitt alone. Like, I'm trying to describe his character without giving too much away. It's kind of like if the dude from The Big Lebowski was a Navy SEAL. Like, it's such a weird combo, and also Daniel Radcliffe is the villain, and he is so good. For those that only know Daniel Radcliffe from Harry Potter, see The Lost City. It's like him when he has the Felix Felicis just for 2 hours.
Oh, let's
So
go.
it's just Daniel Radcliffe being Daniel Radcliffe. Like he's a douchey bad guy, but he's like I'm not a complete dick about it. Like if you need food or a bathroom break, just let me know. Like I'm not a complete monster. But Channing Tatum's comedic timing in this is so good. I laughed out loud quite a bit. It's not gonna end up being like the best or my favorite movie of the year, but it's a surprisingly good time. I think your whole family would like it, Josh. So whenever this comes to probably, I think Paramount Plus soon, check it out. It's doing surprisingly well at the box office, and it's wicked funny. I was very surprised.
I think one of the funniest things, not that, yeah, no, that's what I'm going to go with. One of the funniest things about seeing Batman, and this will tie in, I promise, was me and my brother were sitting there just kind of watching the trailers, and this couple next to us is, they're just chatting kind of loudly, whatever.
Oh, I had that in this movie. I'll talk about that in a second.
But back to back, we had a trailer for The Lost City and then Bullet Train. And she was like, man, Brad Pitt's just in everything now, huh? I was like, yeah,
okay, but how good does Bullet Train look, though?
So good. Looks so good. But
okay.
I just like, this is an odd, like, in order for Brad to have like a renaissance, he would have had to like have a falling off. But
and
like,
he never really has.
No, he never has. But like lately, I have enjoyed everything he's in. So
he's
like,
so funny in this. He's so good in Lost City. He's not in it for a lot. And also make sure you stay till the end, though. Oh gosh, he's so funny in it. But I hate people that talk loudly in the theater. Like this, two ladies are sitting next to me. Didn't even try and whisper. They were just talking regular voices. But also, people, these two ladies, it's literally like half an hour into the movie, and we've met every character we're going to meet in this movie. We get a shot of Channing Tatum talking to Sandra Bullock, and they just go, oh, that's Channing Tatum. And I'm going, we've been watching this movie for half an hour, and you just now clicked in your brain that that's Channing Tatum. Why did you see this movie then if you didn't know it was Channing Tatum? Like, if it was the first scene of the movie and it's his intro when he's wearing the wig or whatever, I would understand. I'd be like, maybe you didn't know Channing Tatum was in this movie. You had half an hour, and it's just only, you're just now realizing that it's a specific actor. Daniel Radcliffe, maybe I can understand. If you've only seen Harry Potter, you've only seen when he's a kid, he's an adult with a full-grown beard, I can understand, maybe.
Yeah.
But Channing Tatum there's nothing physically different about Channing Tatum in this. We know what Channing Tatum looks like. He's one of the biggest movie stars in the world. It takes you half an hour to realize, oh, that's Channing Tatum. I'm going...
It's because he was being funny. They're not used to that. They haven't seen 21 Jump Street.
You have the
or
right.
22 Jump Street.
You have the right to be an attorney. Did you just say you have the right to be an attorney? I mean, you do technically have the right to be an attorney.
Right.
God, I love the Jump Street movie so much.
But like,
don't worry, I'll just shoot you. No, you can shoot her. You don't have to shoot me. No, the bullet will just go straight through you, man. We'll be fine. Put your tongue back in your mouth. That looks weird.
I love, like, anybody that's like just now discovering that Daniel's been working since Harry Potter. I'm sorry, because he's fantastic. Like from Horns to Swiss Army Man,
The Woman in Black,
The Woman in Black, which is easily like that was his first movie after Harry Potter, and it blew me away. The first one, I will argue anybody that says it's bad, it's a fantastic film.
It's not a conventional horror movie.
No, it is not.
It beat Babadook by like a decade in terms of its subject matter. I'll leave it at that. But
yes, agreed.
Speaking of grief, let's get to our first news topic.
Oh.
So I'm conflicted about our first news topic here, and that is that Bill Skarsgard, Pennywise himself, has been tapped to play Eric Draven, I believe is the Eric Draven version of The Crow, in a Crow reboot, to which I immediately just go, I'll believe it when I see it, because this movie, I'm not a superstitious person, but when it comes to the Crow reboot, I'm a little stitious, because this movie's been trying to get off the ground for a solid decade. Here's the issue. Bill Skarsgård is a great actor, and I honestly don't mind him as Eric Draven. There's been 7 or 8 other names that have been attached to this, so I'm just wondering, all right, how long is this going to stick? We've had names like Jason Momoa. We've talked about him like a month or two ago. The videos surfaced of him as the Crow, and I'm like, oh, that looks cool. He was attached. Luke Evans at one point was attached. Tom Hiddleston was attached at one point. I feel like there's another big name attached at one point or another. Cool, you're attached. Until this movie actually physically comes out, I don't know if it's actually going to happen. Just because a movie films doesn't mean it's ever going to come out. Looking at you, Flash. We'll get to you. I'm more concerned about the director that they've chosen this time around. We have Snow White and the Huntsman's Rupert Sanders. I'm going...
Yeah.
Are we going to have a hitman situation here? Because I also, half joking, half serious, I hope they didn't just cast him because they're like, oh, he looks good in white makeup. He should be the Crow. I will say, as much as Josh and I have been excited for this movie, and we're particularly excited for the Jason Momoa casting, if we are going with an Eric Draven casting, Bill Skarsgård probably fits that physique better than Momoa, because Eric Draven, he's muscly, but he's not jacked. He is very much a Andrew Garfield Spider-Man build of tall and lean. Now, they've tried doing other Crows. They had, I think it was 2 separate Crows for 2 and 3. They tried not to be Eric Draven. I think it's a ballsy move to make this Eric Draven again, because that's so tied to Brandon Lee and the unfortunate tragedy of that. This is supposed to begin filming in June. I'll believe it when I see it, but in terms of sheer casting, Bill Skarsgård is a good choice. It's literally everything else around this project that gets me nervous. Josh, do you see it any different at all?
No, I agree. Bill Skarsgård is fantastic. He's a fantastic actor. I'm picturing him mentally with long hair, kind of in that costume that Eric has. Down. Absolutely. As long as we don't get any weird half-done rock solo on the top of a roof, I think we'll be all right. The thing that gets me is the complaints about it's the Brandon Lee, kind of thing that it surrounds this film, unfortunately. Because you are doing Eric Draven, it does have that kind of issue. I have seen people have issues with them doing an Eric Draven Crow or doing a Crow reboot at all. There's been a lot of people that have been shocked to find out that there are 2. I think there's actually 3. I think there's 3 other Crows.
There's City of Angels and the one with Kristen Dunst.
Yeah, I could have sworn there was a 3rd, but maybe I'm wrong. But just fine. But if you're gonna say you can't do a Crow movie at all because of the Brandon Lee thing, sorry, dude, they've already done 2 more. That's a little invalid. But also, I've seen people be like, well, no, you can't do Bill Skarsgård. I'll never see him outside of him being it. And I'm sorry.
Did you know that it was it?
There's that makeup is so heavy. There's no way that you'd be like, oh no, that's it. That's it. Sorry, I can't do can't do that separation character. My brain not smart, can't do movie thing. Nope, sorry. I am excited. I would love an Eric Draven reboot. I honestly am pretty stoked about a Bill Skarsgård doing it. I'm with you though. I think there's a lot of stuff around this movie. Both of us are a little stitious about just the amount of hurdles this thing has had to jump over, and losing directors, losing actors, I'll believe, like you said, I'll believe it when I see it, man. I think even once I get a trailer, I think I'll still be like, sure, but show me the date it comes out, and don't. Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, The Flash has a teaser trailer, but given recent events, I'd be amazed if that comes out in 2023. I think they're just going to wait until next week to figure out what they're going to do with management, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. I do think it's really just does come down to continue on the Crow legacy, but don't make it Eric Draven. Just learn the mistakes that you made from the previous sequels. Of you can have other crows, but the big issue with those movies is those movies sucked. So just make this movie better. I don't have a lot of confidence in it though because of the people attached to it. Like if you told me, I don't know, if we had a choice, who would be a really good crow director? I would want somebody that is known for like more, I don't want to say morbid storytelling, but kind of morbid storytelling because The Crow is a very depressing story, always has been, even before the tragedy. It's just so much about grief and loss, and it has so much a very distinct aesthetic. Like, ooh, it will never happen, but like, and he's never really delved his toes into this genre before. But Mike Flanagan's The Crow, oh my,
I'd be down.
Oh my god. Or if this was 20, 25 years ago and he kind of stopped doing the same thing over and over again, Tim Burton's The Crow, I think would fit incredibly well. I don't think that would fit too much for nowadays when he's I don't want to say gotten too commercial, but he's in that stage of a like sports career of you've already won the championship a few times. Now you're just getting as much money as you can before you retire. That's kind of where I see Tim Burton's career currently. Yeah, I'm still excited because Josh and I have gone on record so many times that The Crow is one of the most underrated comic book movies of all time. It's one of our favorites. It's just, this has been such a long time coming, and until this actually comes out, I won't believe that it's a real thing because we've lost so many directors, so many actors. It's like the world doesn't actually want to see this come to fruition, but Hollywood's like, nah, man, this is going to happen whether you like it or not. And the world is like, you sure? You sure about that, bruh? I don't know. Now, moving on to a late-breaking development as we're recording this, but the WarnerMedia Discovery merger is actually expected to be finished rather soon, with earliest projections being done by this Friday, which I'm going, holy crap, you did that fast. Which, obviously, when new leadership is put into place, the old leadership might not have the same position, and that's obviously what's happening here, as Jason Kilar and Ann Sarnoff both will be exiting. So this kind of came a few hours apart, like Jason Kilar announced his resignation earlier in the day. I think Kilar announced his leaving, and Sarnoff, on the other hand, was told that her position was no longer necessary and that she'd be let go. So, lot to break down here. I know a lot of Snyder fans that are real happy right now because they pointed the finger at Ann Sarnoff for not, quote unquote, restoring the Snyderverse. Guys, I don't think that's happening anymore for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
I think Snyder got burned by the studio that he's working with. I don't always like his movies, but he did get treated badly by Warner Brothers. And they did more or less make it good with the Snyder Cut, but that did lose the HBO Max quite a bit of money. He is, in relationship terms, he is in a very happy, committed relationship with Netflix now. He seems to be doing just fine. He's happy with Army of the Dead. He's got his like Star Wars ripoff that he's working on soon. He's got an Army of the Dead prequel that he just did. He seems to be living his best life over there. I don't think he's interested anymore about continuing the Snyderverse. I think that part of him will always be with him, but I don't think he's interested in continuing that anymore now that he's got this opportunity to tell completely new stories with characters that he himself makes up. Yeah. Also, you gotta think that the people that are leaving WarnerMedia were also the ones that approved the Snyder Cut to begin with to show up on the platform, so they were still involved to a certain extent. I don't care about Ann Sarnoff leaving nearly as much as a whole bunch of other people, mainly the Snyder Cut fans. I care more about Jason Kilar leaving. Both of these departures were nothing new. It was speculated a long time ago that when Discovery acquired Warner Brothers, or was in the early stages of it, that people were like, so where does this leave Jason Kilar? Because David Zaslav, who currently runs Discovery, does pretty good. And more people... It's that, like, all right, guys, it's him or me. And everyone points to Zaslav and goes... We'd rather have him, the guy that's making the purchases. We'd rather have him than the one that's being bought. And Jason Kilar, God, for a long time now, I have been counting down the days till he leaves, because how do you botch HBO Max and WarnerMedia so badly? Like, I don't mind HBO Max as an app. I think it's good. Is it
Yeah.
as good as it should be? Oh, heck no,
No.
not even
Oh no.
close. Server issues, not having the proper formats of, hey, we've got 4K content. Guys, you have like 7 movies on 4K. That's about it. Your stream quality, frankly, sucks. Like, even your HD stuff, I'm like, Jesus, what is the bitrate? Like 10 or 12? Like, it's terrible. But the single biggest boneheaded decision that had huge ramifications was that decision in 2021 of, hey, all of our movies will have day and date release. Like, I get what he's going for. HBO Max was way behind in the numbers subscription wise. That's not how you do it. You burned a whole bunch of your bridges. You basically, I forget where Nolan ended up, but you basically lost Christopher Nolan as a director forever. You almost lost Denis Villeneuve forever. You had a whole bunch of your talent that you didn't notify ahead of time that was doing this. And in the end, it didn't actually end up helping HBO Max any. Its growth, yeah, the platform grew a little bit, but that was its natural projections anyway. It didn't like skyrocket to the level that he was projecting it would. If anything, it did more harm than good. These were not surprising departures at all. Because again, when a new company takes over an old one, the one acquiring it will typically keep their people in charge. If anything, this should be good news, because from everything we've heard, David Zaslav is very much a hands-off type of guy. So I'm hoping, well, we can talk about it in a little bit here, Josh. I'm hoping that this kind of, we don't care about any other Warner Brothers stuff besides DC. Let's be honest here on this podcast.
Yeah.
I am hoping that the reason all this stuff got delayed a few weeks ago is so that David Zaslav can go, all right, everybody calm the brakes, chill the F out. Somebody tell me what we're doing. Nobody can tell me what we're doing, then that means you guys don't know what you're doing. And if we don't know what we're doing, we need a plan to figure out what we're actually going to do. So that's the big issue that Warner Bros. Has had, is they've never had a plan. And I know some people are like, well, they can keep doing standalone movies. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But decide if they're standalone movies or if they're connected or not.
Yeah.
We can dive into that more in a little bit here, Josh. But you see Jason Kilar and Sarnoff, 2 of the big heads currently of WarnerMedia, have left or have been fired. We'll put it that way. Was this shocking to you, or where do you see the current direction of this WarnerMedia Discovery merger?
It was shocking to me because I think you definitely follow it a lot closer than I do, and I'm not as privy to transitions of power when it comes to.
Oh no, I just daily search headlines of Jason Kilar fired. Right after I checked Bob Chapek fired.
You have a Chrome extension attached to your browser that constantly searches the internet.
Bob Chapek fired. Nightwing movie news. Henry Cavill back as Superman.
You open a new tab, it pops up. Sorry, no news. Sorry, no news. And then this came up, and you're like, oh, there's news.
The Clarining.
Dude, it was surprising to me because I'm not very privy to the kind of like how the transition of power normally happens. But the ramifications are definitely hard to ignore. Especially if they end up, a lot of people will see the move of them delaying all the DC stuff as, oh wow, they still don't know what they're doing. And guess what? They probably still don't. But at least in this way, you and I especially, we're pretty vocal on, we take this as a sign that the merger is taking the DC's properties seriously and is like, yeah, okay, so if this is if these are the stories we're telling, where are we going with them? What are we doing? What's the end goal here? We're not just going to be throwing money at you guys. That's not how this is going to work. So we'll see what happens in the long run, at least when it comes to DC. But I think like Dune is under that banner. There's quite a bit of large properties that have come out in the last couple of years that Discovery's going to have to make some decisions on. I mean, I know they already greenlit Dune for a second movie, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be all the way to 3 and 4, but I'm not. Don't quote me on that because I don't remember that.
Cancel Fantastic Beasts.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what? At this point, you have to because there's nothing you can do about it. They've gone too far down the rabbit hole. There's no way that you're going to write yourself out of that corner because they've written themselves in that corner. So
without delving too much into spoilers for those people that do care about Fantastic Beasts: Secrets of Dumbledore, from everything I've read, Credence, Ezra Miller's character, is a very big part of the story. To which I'm going, if you're going to keep this franchise, you can't. You just can't keep Ezra Miller anymore. We'll talk on it briefly here for a bit because I think it's important going forward. Whatever David Zaslav is doing with Warner Discovery, I think one of his first pieces of action is, what are you going to do with Ezra Miller? Because honestly, it's gotten out of control. There should have been disciplinary actions the first time there was issues back in the beginning of quarantine in 2020 when he chokeslammed somebody. But now it's escalated to a very dangerous level to the point of Warner Bros. Has a habit of ignoring or being very selective of who they fire and who they keep. But this is not a situation like that. It's going to do more damage for your brand if you keep him in the long term. Now, at the time of recording this, we have Jason Kilar and Ann Sarnoff leaving. If those two are leaving, I would not be surprised if Toby Emmerich, the head of another one of those big pillars of WarnerMedia, currently, if he's also on his way out. And Toby Emmerich and Ann Sarnoff typically get lumped together in the Snyder movement stuff of get rid of Sarnoff, get rid of Emmerich. I would not be surprised just because he's the old regime, but then again, maybe Toby's got a relationship with Zaslav pre-existing. Like David Zaslav had a relationship with the head over at CNN before all that stuff went down. Which, on top of that, I know comic book fans don't care about this, but I don't particularly care about it, but I am curious of, they just launched CNN Plus. That falls under the same banner of AT&T and like Warner, so you just launched that app. Is that going to get bundled in with this Discovery HBO Max mega app? Like, are we going to have a DC universe? Are we going to have a DC universe situation here? Lastly, before we move on to our next topic, I'm going to do my way too early predictions here.
Okay, hit me with it.
David Zaslav is a relational guy. He's a lot like Bob Iger he likes to put talent first. My way too early prediction. In 2023, some bridges are going to be repaired. And Henry Cavill will be announced to be returning. Unlike other just blind hopes, I think this is a situation of the changing of the guard may signal stuff. I think Zaslav will probably be aware of fans' desire. And also, I go back to evidence. As the jury will see, Exhibit A, in David Zaslav's first interview after Discovery was announced to be merging with Warner or acquiring Warner, he said, they've got this great vast catalog of IP with characters such as Superman. The first name he said was Superman. Zaslav is a Superman fan, confirmed. Henry Cavill returned, confirmed. It's going to happen in 2023. He's going to be announced to come back. Obviously, we're not going to get a movie in 2023 because that's not how movies work. But
it's not.
I'm also still not convinced that he doesn't show up in The Flash at some point. Now, I've heard some bonkers rumors out there that I gotta hope are not true from some of the stuff that I've heard, and it's from Reddit, so only the most reliable of sources there. I think Henry Cavill will come back.
Okay.
Now more than ever, it's just a matter of the other DC stuff. I just want a good shepherd. I don't need a Feige. I just need at least one person in the room to go, hey, we should map things out. That's not Matt Reeves, because Matt Reeves is the only one that seems to have a clue right now. You know who else doesn't have a clue right now? Robert Downey Jr. And I love RDJ, but I think he's a little confused here because it's been announced that he and his wife and their production company will be producing 2 spin-off series for HBO Max revolving around the world of Sherlock Holmes, to which I'm going, gosh, if this was 10 years ago, I'd be super excited right now because there's one Moriarty-sized elephant in the room here, Robert. You're the reason we don't have Sherlock Holmes 3, dude! How can you say we're developing 2 spin-off series when you're the reason we don't have a 3rd movie? I get that you've been super busy with Marvel. But the last movie came out in 2011. It has been over 11 years since the last RDJ Sherlock Holmes movie, which, don't get me wrong, I love the first one, and I tolerate the second one. It's not a mystery. It's not a mystery movie at all. It's just it's just an action movie with one good sequence in the woods, and they kind of botched Sherlock's death. It was kind of weirdly done. I would be excited about this if there wasn't 2 factors here. One, it's been a decade since we've had any movement on this, and also we've had directors come on and drop out of a Sherlock Holmes 3 over and over again. I thought Dexter Fletcher was supposed to direct Sherlock Holmes 3, and then I think he left to do some biopic instead. And 2, I don't know where you go, because my immediate thought for where a Sherlock Holmes spin-off TV show on HBO Max would go, those characters are already dead. My mind immediately goes to Rachel McAdams' character, Irene Adler, died in the second movie, or an origin story for Moriarty and the rise of Moriarty. He's dead too! Like, this is coming from me, a die-hard Sherlock Holmes fan. I have seen every episode of Sherlock repeatedly, except season 4. Season 4 does not exist in my brain. We don't acknowledge season 4. It ended after season 2, which is the best season of television ever created.
Absolutely.
And then nothing happened after season 2. Sherlock came back to life, but we don't know how. And nothing happened after season 2. Love Sherlock. I love Sherlock Holmes. I'll watch anything with Sherlock Holmes in it, except for Holmes and Watson with Will Ferrell. Screw that movie. But I'm not excited for this. You've killed the excitement of a Sherlock Holmes fan. 1, you waited too long, and 2, what story are you going to tell? I don't care about Watson going to med school, or heaven forbid, if you show his wife again, who was the biggest dead weight in those movies. God, I hated that character. Clearly, I get fired up about these.
Tell me how you really feel, Dave.
It's a decade too late. Why?
I agree, though. It is definitely feels like a decade too late. The spinoff was like, this feels like Alona Holmes trying to happen again. I'm not a fan of that. I would be interested to see how they could adapt. I don't like that. What is it? The Hound of
Baskerville.
Baskerville. There it is. I know it started with a B. I just couldn't remember. That could be interesting. But like again, like you said, all of the characters involved are preoccupied in some sort of way. So like I don't know, dude. It's like he like after Doolittle fails, he just doesn't know what to do, which is it's bad because I don't want to like
he does little besides the MCU,
which is unfortunate, but because like I don't, from the little clips that I've seen, he's not necessarily the issue with that film, but at the same time it's like, so you're going to go back to your quote-unquote tried and trues that you've neglected for over a decade? Like, that's fine. Sure. Let's go, bro. I mean, I guess if we had more information as opposed to like about what the series are going to be about, I think we could talk more about like, okay, well, I can see where we're going, or, hey, no, that's a bad idea. But they're just like, no, yeah, two, not just one, but 2 Sherlock Holmes spin-off series for HBO Max, which is like, okay, cool. So what are we gonna do? Like a 6-episode quote unquote event? Like, all right, sure, whatever. Which is my only nitpick on Moon Knight is like, so is this not existent in the canonical timeline? Okay, whatever. But yeah, no, it's fine, sure, whatever. We'll see what happens. Does this also mean that Robert Downey's returning as Sherlock? So he's going to produce his own content.
We don't know if he's coming back yet. We just know he and his wife are producing, but we don't know if he's coming back. I'm just going.
That's so weird.
My guess is that they are still quote unquote working on the third one, and then this will be spun out of people that we meet in the third one. It's something I think I read. I'm going, that's hugely putting the cart before the horse. We don't even have a Sherlock Holmes 3 script done yet, let alone a movie of it to be spun out.
Yeah.
Which annoys me because the idea that I've had forever, and I think it would write itself as a movie, is, all right, we already killed off Moriarty in the second one. We've taken a break for a while. Maybe Sherlock Holmes is in retirement. When for a third movie, we get Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper, the greatest unsolved crime in all of London history meets the greatest detective in fictional history. Like, that's just a great pairing right there. That sells itself. My worry is they'll be like, Inspector Lestrade, the bumbling idiot cop, we got a spin-off for him because Robert Downey Jr. Because Sherlock loves to make fun of him, so we'll give him a show where he's a bumbling detective. We saw Wellington Paranormal. Y'all like that. We're gonna have our own version of that. I'm like, no.
Well, but like, even like something like, as much as I love Watson, I can see HBO being like, all right, let's give Watson his own show. Everybody loves Watson. I'm like, no, that's not the point of the dynamic. He's like, it just doesn't. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this. It is Warner, so like maybe there'll be some good brain behind it, but like, I doubt it. I don't know, man. I don't know.
So speaking of a little unexpected news, y'all like Spy Kids? That's still in your nostalgia? Is that now the time to cash in on nostalgia points for the Spy Kids property? Well, apparently Netflix thinks so, as they're rebooting Spy Kids, but with the original director Robert Rodriguez returning to direct. That's kind of weird to me that you're rebooting a property, but keeping the original guy. It's not quite the same, but it's like you're selling a house and you're selling it back to its original owner. Like, you bought a house and then you're going to sell it back to the original owner who's going to do stuff to it. Like
the bank took the house, and so now the families finally got the money to buy their house back.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that. That feels grubby. I don't like that.
But like, Robert Rodriguez, I think, did the first 3, maybe even the 4th one too, that no one ever remembers.
There's a 4th.
Yeah, without Alexa Vega and Junie. I don't.
So it's not Spy Kids.
So we don't care. No, they're in it, I think, as adults. Which, I mean,
they're old enough now.
I was just about to go there. If this movie is, instead of Carla Gugino and Antonio Banderas, we have adult versions of Carmen and Junie, whose own kids are becoming the Spy Kids, then you might get me more interested. Bring back Steve Buscemi, and I'm all on board, man. You get that great dialogue, like, you think God sits up in heaven because he's afraid of what he created? I'm going, where are you going with this, Spy Kids 2?
Dude. God, like, and to me, that's why you bring Robert back. Because that is like a very, very oddly specific charm that Robert brings to these films. They're made for $2 and in his garage. Like,
maybe this time he can afford, with Netflix money, he can afford an actual production company.
I don't think it matters if he can afford it or not. He's still going to shoot it in his garage on a camcorder. Okay, this is Netflix, right? So I'll believe it when I see it. This is, in comparison to the other products, like Redwall, like Magic Treehouse,
Narnia.
Narnia, like, this actually has a director attached to it. So that's cool. And that actually gives it a little bit more validity of like, okay, so this could actually happen. Because before, Netflix kind of still is in this this kind of groove of announcing stuff and like, hey, we acquired this property, guys, and then doing nothing with it. So it's like, okay, all right, fine, whatever. But with Spy Kids, yeah, if I get to have Carmen on my screen again,
Is she still married to that what's it from Big Time Rush?
No, she's not married. There's no way.
No,
She's
it's
saving
not Big Time
herself.
Rush. She's
Nah.
no,
She's
it is
saving
Big Time
herself.
Rush. She's married to that guy from Big Time Rush and
Nah,
has a couple kids.
She's single and she's waiting to meet me. Obviously. Brain blast.
Oh, dude, no, just throw out the entire Spy Kids concept. Throw Carmen out, throw Junie out. It's a Machete spinoff. Another one, it's another Machete spinoff, and it's just Danny Trejo reading the phone book. I don't care. It's gosh. Danny Trejo, and I'm interested.
I got it. Are you ready? So it is. So we come in with a 10-episode season, and the first episode where we meet Machete and we go about his adventures with Carmen and Junie's parents, leading up to, and he just kind of like does his own thing for a bit. And then the last episode is when they show up at his house in the first movie. Like, let's go. Like, let's see what he was doing with his life before the first movie. I'd be okay with that. Although he would actually, you know what? No, he wouldn't look older. He looks exactly the same. It's Machete,
he really
bro.
does.
He doesn't age.
No, he was born old looking and just kind of stayed that way, like Morgan Freeman and Sam Cassell. My only concern is because it's how Netflix kind of works, they're very much chasing trends, and I worry after his brief directorial stint on The Mandalorian Season 2 and after the Book of Boba Fett, I think they're like, oh, just like Zoolander, oh, Robert Rodriquez, he's so hot right now. Like, we need to get him back for Spy Kids.
Yeah.
The rights are available? Let's do it. Oh, he's so hot right now. I worry that's the mindset of like, oh, Robert Rodriguez is mainstream again? Sign that man up. Like, you didn't want to do it when Shark Boy and Lava Girl's rights were for sale. Avengers level crossover right there. Spy Kids.
Dude.
Crossover with Shark Boy and Lava Girl. And because it's such a big event, it's going to be a $30 budget.
I would love to see a
Corridor Crew episode with Robert Rodriguez.
No. I got you. Could do a Shark Boy Lava Girl movie. But it's like BoJack Horseman, where like Shark Boy is like depressed and stuff because you saved.
Bring back Taylor Lautner, who's just like, my career went nowhere.
Exactly, dude. Like with Taylor, and so it's like this whole like metaphor on his career. And God, I don't hate Taylor. I promise. I don't hate Taylor.
Speaking of Robert Rodriguez, one of the shows he recently had a part of was Mandalorian Season 2, when he had that great episode where he reintroduced Boba Fett, and then he did nothing else with Boba Fett ever again. We don't talk about anything else that he's ever done with Boba Fett. But speaking of Mandalorian, Season 3 has just wrapped filming, to which I'm just going, oh, didn't realize they started filming. That's the nice thing about them filming with the volume, that big indoor screen projectors. Everything's inside, you just never know. They can keep secrets well. I didn't even know this was filming. I knew we talked about Christopher Lloyd being cast, primarily just because I wanted the man and the DeLorean joke that comes with that. But they're done. So that
makes you. Huh? It really makes me wonder how long Christopher Lloyd has actually been already cast, and like, so they just, maybe that was like a leak on accident or something, which would be so like.
He's just hanging around catering one day. He's like, oh yeah.
He's been a writer on the first two without anybody knowing. No, I don't. I'm excited. Yeah, like it's like you said. I had no idea that they had started filming. I guess technically we should have known, given those 2 episodes in Book of Boba Fett. But which is gonna be interesting how they get around that. But yeah, we'll see what happens, my dude.
So I think this gives us time to talk about like, what do we think will happen with Season 3?
Yeah.
Because if I had to, I'll make my one big bold prediction with Season 3. I don't think he'll officially be there, but by the end of Season 3, I think the stage will be set for the fantastic return, or better yet, the grand return of one Admiral Thrawn. I think from day one, when Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have been making The Mandalorian, I think they approached The Mandalorian just like Iron Man. A generic dude in a suit of armor that's not well liked, that goes under an arc, but in doing so, expands and creates this gigantic universe. I think they're branching a whole bunch of stories out of The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
And we know the Ahsoka series is coming. And there's
Yeah.
been rumors for a while that the show will revolve around Ahsoka trying to find Ezra. Well, if you try and find Ezra Bridger, he was last seen shooting off into space with Grand Admiral Thrawn. So when the Republic falls at the end of Return of the Jedi, the beautiful blue man himself is still out there somewhere. And I know a lot of fans were hoping for Thrawn to be the main villain in the sequel trilogy. I would not be surprised at all if Filoni and Favreau will try and go back to that of try and give fans what they want. We've already seen more than I had ever thought we'd see of Luke, a young Luke after Return.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing more and more of the groundwork being laid for a Grand Admiral Thrawn appearance, or just Grand Admiral Thrawn is a surprise character. Like, instead of the season 2 finale when we get a surprise Luke, end of season 3, I don't know what the mission would be. They successfully go see a Star Cruiser, and we just see a man with his arms behind his back. Don't even see his face, but we see the black slicked back hair with blue skin. Get to close up of man with his eyes closed, opens them to reveal the red eyes. Wait, is it red eyes?
Yes, it is.
Red eyes.
Blue skin, red eyes.
Of Grand Admiral Thrawn, the next big bad in the Star Wars universe. Mark my words.
So this has been my issue now with what they've done in Book of Boba Fett. Outside of a lot of stuff.
Issue?
Yeah. I've got a lot of issues with Book of Boba Fett. But one of my issues was giving Baby Grogu back to Mando. Because at the end of season 2, I will admit, I breathed a sigh of relief. I was like, cool, now we can move on to whatever other adventures are going. Now we can move on from this Grogu stuff. Not that I love season 1 and 2, fantastic, but having 2 whole seasons dedicated to one story arc, it did to me get a little exhausting. So I was looking forward to doing something new. And I guess technically we still would be getting something new. They're just they don't need to get Grogu back to the Jedi. I don't know, man. I think Thrawn is our best option. I think the only reason they gave Grogu back to Mando is so that they didn't have to insinuate that he dies in the temple when Kylo goes crazy.
Yeah, although, don't get me wrong, I love seeing all those memes of Kylo calling up Baby Yoda and going, "Hey, Grogu, I kind of like you. You probably shouldn't come to school tomorrow." "Okay, man. Have a nice night." And takes Grogu's name off his hit list. I'm like, yeah. Those are good memes.
They're fantastic memes. But it just, to me, that's just an unfortunate insinuation. You can't alter an entire story just because you're like, well, we don't want to insinuate that so this character dies like that. That's terrible. Death is terrible.
We don't want to insinuate in something in Star Wars, so we just retcon the entire freaking movie?
Yeah.
Where have we heard that before?
That's so weird.
Throwing the Thrawn thing out,
mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if we see other characters besides Luke. I don't know if we'll see a Han or a Leia, but maybe a Wedge Antilles or an Admiral Akbar. Or
a
gonked droid. I don't know. The actor that played Admiral Akbar, I know has passed away, but
also I'm pretty sure Akbar's dead.
Akbar died in Last Jedi.
That's yeah. Oh no, yeah, because this is in between. That's right.
Josh knows timelines.
I don't. I'm not even gonna pretend like I'm good at timelines.
This is set in the Old Republic.
Yeah. We'll see. It would be cool. Oh, geez, I feel terrible. Ezra's master in Rebels.
Kanan.
It would be cool if we got a live action Kanan for a little bit, because technically that can happen.
How? He exploded.
No, timeline.
Kanan, no. Spoiler alert for Rebels. Kanan freaking exploded. There is nothing left of poor Freddie Prinze Jr. the man went kaboomy. But
You're
thankfully,
right.
he had one of the most emotionally gut-wrenching scenes in all of Star Wars when right before he dies, he can finally see the love of his life one more time because he got blinded, but the Force let him
Yeah.
see, and just going, I wasn't ready to feel that I'm hurt. What about Zeb?
Ooh.
Mando versus Zeb, and then they end up becoming
Or
friends.
even
Don't say Sabine. I don't care.
you could do Sabine though.
I don't care.
What if, or
Chopper?
Yeah, no, I would pop for Chopper hardcore. But what if like
Chopper.
the final screw you, Chopper's great. What if the final scene is the kind of scene that you're talking about with Ron, but it's a little boy meditating, or a grown man at this point actually, meditating on top of a space whale. And that's our introduction to Ezra. Because
Yes,
you skimmed
I know.
over that. You skimmed over that on purpose, and I did not appreciate it because of my favorite part of how he goes. He like gets on those space whales, and he's like, "Let's get some damage, buddies."
Because as
like,
a Jedi, Ezra has some of the weirdest power sets.
Yes.
Of like, he's kind of weak in terms of doing the normal basic Jedi stuff, but if you need any special magical animal horse whisper stuff, Ezra's your guy. Like, he kind of sucks with the lightsaber, but if you need to figure out what's wrong with your whale, he's your guy. Like, Ezra should have crossed over with Star Trek VI, The Voyage Home, when they're sending all the space whales out, or is that the fourth one? Either way, Ezra should have helped the Star Trek space whales. That's gonna break some nerds' minds.
We're gonna sit here and be like, yes. So the great thing about Grand Admiral Thrawn is that he plans for everything. He understands cultures,
except for
just
whale
plans
attacks.
for everything. But he didn't plan for hyperspace whales. Like. Oh man!
You should have known. You never should have bartered with a Jedi when space whales are on the line.
Anyway, yeah, we don't quote Princess Bride around here all the time.
Normally, actually, we don't.
We don't. I actually quote the what the line from Billy Crystal when everybody's leaving the cabin.
I'm your wife.
Guys. Have fun storming the castle. You think they'll make it? Not a chance. Bye. Like, it's literally a running gag between my mom right now and I. It's the best. I'm excited for season 3. Why not? Like, give me more Mando and less Boba Fett. Would never thought I'd say that. Jeez.
Well, as per usual, this week's episode is sponsored by TeePublic. It's where you can get both shirts that Josh and I are wearing tonight. It's the Uncharted Media logo, the old logo. As you can see, we got a new logo. I'm still in the process of switching everything else over. We've got a whole bunch of designs, hoodies, shirts, notebooks, stickers, whatever your heart desires with Uncharted Media stuff on it. Go check it out, support the podcast. And as always, subscribe to us wherever you're getting your podcasts, or if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. Get us to 700 subscribers. That's our goal for the end of the year. Share us with some of your movie friends. Now, commercials out of the way. Let's talk bad. This list was hard because, as Josh and I talked about, since we did 5 Good Things, which is like the first thing video related that Josh and I did together, we've kind of approached bad movies differently. Of like, we at least try and find the positives and stuff. Like, sorry guys, Batman and Robin is not on my list today because from a production design standpoint, it's great. From a, as much as y'all don't want to acknowledge it, from a looking at the source material, it's a pretty good movie in terms of the Heart of Ice storyline, which introduced Mr. Freeze's new backstory, had only just come out 4 years ago. They adopted that. They adopted the brand spanking new Nightwing costume, whether they intended to or not. It's a very good homage to the 60s Batman. But it's like, it's that kind of mindset of approaching things from not as a critical perspective. Some movies are just going to suck regardless, but you try and find the positives. Other times, there's movies that people love, but because I'm just a nitpicking guy that likes very specific things, I still manage to rage out about them. Some movies just are boring and suck. So we're not going to talk about like some of the iconic ones that we have not seen. To be qualified today, you have to have seen the movie. Didn't mean you have to see them in theaters. You just have to have seen them. Also, I tried to get a good balance, but a lot of these are newer movies, primarily just because I don't seek out old bad movies. I probably should though.
Yeah, I have one from, jeez, I want to say the early 70s, I think. I'd have to look that up. But yeah, like mostly for the past couple decades. But that's just a sign of our age, unfortunately. And yeah, I this was harder than I thought because like you said, like I just genuinely have come from a place where like, okay, no matter what happens in this film, I'm gonna do the best I can to actually enjoy it. Um, and that there's a lot of stuff and a lot of movies will help you enjoy things. Um, that being said, I think there's still some unforgivable things
Oh
that
yeah.
you can that some movies. So like The Happening is not on here
No.
because I there
That's
the
a great
concept
comedy.
it but the idea that nature itself is attacking everybody is pretty interesting, and for the most part he pulls it off. But yeah,
Also, I feel like I don't even know if Josh remembers this, but when we did our 5 good things about that happening, we think we might
yes.
have actually figured out the movie where no one else has. Maybe the reason the acting is so bad is everyone's already infected by the plants and the trees, and that's why everyone is so not acting human. They're because everyone's already still wooden and just acting bizarre, which is a symptom of what happens when they get infected by,
Mm-hmm.
we'll just call it allergy season because that's more
Yeah.
or less what it is in the movie. So we're just like, wait, maybe that was an intentional choice to have these bad acting. But then again, Shyamalan does have bad scripts usually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can't be anything we ironically love, like The Happening, Wicker Man. Like this has to be pure hatred.
Drive
So
Angry.
Drive Angry's a masterpiece. That's a
Oh,
movie.
I love
Awesome.
that movie so much.
That being said, I do have a Nicolas Cage category amongst the 4
Okay.
categories that I have. I've got Nicolas
Okay.
Cage movies, horror, just generic action movies / couldn't fit them in any other category, and superhero movies. Some of
Okay.
these are going to be surprising. Some of these are not.
Okay. Yeah, same.
Where do we go first, Josh?
Let's go horror. Let's just knock horror out of the way.
Jeepers Creepers 3 sucks so bad.
It is so bad.
Did you end up
It's
seeing this movie?
Yes, I did. And like I was like, "Oh, that's the cool stuff you did with the truck. That's fun." Doesn't like bring up any questions at all about the series, but yeah, okay, cool. And I think I didn't hate it until the end. And I was like, oh, that's what we're implying. Oh, okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah,
Oh.
see, I hated the movie, but then I loathed the movie when I get to the end because forever, Josh and I love the first one. It's great. The second one exists. Knowing what we know now about the director, the second one makes a lot more sense, unfortunately. But when we heard this third one was coming out, it's like, oh, cool. It's got to be about the sister. The sister that's alive. She's going to go after the creeper for vengeance against Justin Long. A weird sentence. Didn't happen in the third one. But the third one ends with the sister going, all right, now I'm fed up and I'm going to go after him, going, that's what this movie should have been. What the heck? And then they go, plot twist. Jeepers Creepers 3 is secretly set between the first and the second one. I'm going, I am so confused right now. And the only reason I knew, and the only reason the movie tells you it's set between the first and the second one, is the third one ends with the school bus, which honestly was the only detail I remembered about Jeepers Creepers 2 was most of this movie takes place on a bus with random creepy shots of teenage boys. It has not aged well, knowing what we know now about the director. The third one makes the cardinal sin of, at least the first 2 Jeepers Creepers knew, you know when a horror movie works best? When it's in the freaking nighttime! When it is dark! Why is Jeepers Creepers 3 spending so much time in the daytime with like all the lighting so you can see all the imperfections in the costume design and the makeup and everything else? The guy that plays the creeper, given 150%. He's great. I don't think he knows that it's a bad movie. He's just working his butt off in this movie. He's doing a great job. Why do you film in the daytime? It's the same issue. See, I was about to say it's the same issue with the new Texas Chainsaw, but to be fair, most of the Texas Chainsaw movies take place during the day too because of the blistering Texas heat. That makes sense. Jeepers Creepers 3, why? What? Why are you in the daytime? Why are you like this? Why you do this? Why you do stupid stuff? Like,
why is his truck booby trapped on the inside? That literally makes no sense. How does he get in and out of his truck without it being a total process? Like, get out! No. I'm done. I can't. I don't want to talk about this movie.
The monster and the monster and his car were the only cool things about it. The rest of the movie was so awful because I remember being so hyped for it. I wasn't at all deterred when I saw that it was going direct to DVD. I should have been at that moment.
Yeah,
but I remember watching it going,
been.
all right, cool. I'm so excited for this. I have such an emotional attachment to it that I'm going to do a movie review of it when it comes out. Still one of my favorite thumbnails because it was just the picture and it's just me with my hands in my face and going, nope, screw it. This is a 5 good things video. Not a movie review. Screw this movie. I hate it so much. Next up, one of Josh's all-time favorite franchises. Friday the 13th.
Okay, so
Josh knows where I'm going with this.
Yeah, okay.
Jason Goes to Hell.
Okay.
Plot twist on you there. But anybody that knows Friday the 13th franchise knows. God, Jason Goes to Hell is a movie that existed and was made. Like, I think people have come around to Jason X of like, okay, it's just a fun, dumb movie. Like Halloween Resurrection. I will never hate either of those movies just because they're just stupid fun. Jason Goes to Hell, on the other hand, Jason gets blown up in the first 5 minutes, and it's literally his ghost inhabiting other random human people throughout the rest of the movie. And you've got like the coroner like eating a heart at one point, and Jason can only be killed with a stake by a family member. And I'm going, how is this hockey mask wearing killer in a camp? Like, the only good thing about Jason Goes to Hell is when you see the mask at the end be grabbed by the Freddy Krueger gloved hand. It only took like a decade plus for that movie to actually come to fruition. They made that post-credit scene without anybody knowing whether or not the movie would actually happen. Jason Goes to Hell is so bad. I almost put Jason Goes to Manhattan, Jason Takes Manhattan, but Jason Goes to Hell is so much worse. Like,
Jason Goes to Manhattan sounds like a rom-com.
Jason Goes to Manhattan, spoiler alert, 80% of that movie takes place on a boat, not actually in Manhattan because they're too broke to actually film in Manhattan.
Fair enough.
Although,
man.
Jason Takes Manhattan has one of the best kills of all time when he literally just uppercuts somebody's head off like in a Mortal Kombat game.
Get out.
And it rolls into a trash can, and you're just like, 2 points. That's cool.
Get out of here. All right, I only have one that is categorized as a horror film.
Please tell me it's the same as my last one.
Probably not. And it unfortunately was my first interaction with the horror genre. I don't know have you ever seen Drag Me to Hell?
Oh, you mean Drag Me to Hell by Multiverse of Madness director Sam Raimi.
Oh my gosh, dude. Okay. At one point, okay, this girl gets, cursed. She gets cursed by this demon coming after her, blah blah blah. And she's told that the only way to get rid of it is somebody has to die. And she's like, "Oh, okay, cool. So I'll find this random stray cat and try to kill it in my stead so that I don't die." So when that doesn't work, this is the culminating moment for me, in which I was like,
wait, how do you not kill a cat? Like, is the cat like overpowered?
No.
Tico?
She kills it. She kills it on screen.
I thought what you were saying is she just like couldn't kill the cat, like it was like Tickle, the magic cat, and the cat like beat her up in a fight or something, preventing her from killing her.
No, okay. It gets worse. So on screen, you hear the crack of the neck, because we're not talking like a full-grown cat. We are legit talking like a kitten. Okay, she kills a kitten. First of all, already have issues. Okay, already have issues. Then later in the movie, when that doesn't work for, I don't know, that's not a person, so technically that wouldn't even count, even if you were going by the rules set by the curse. Okay, whatever. Later in the movie, they do a seance so that they summon the demon into somebody's body so that they can have a conversation with it to try to convince it to leave her alone. First of all, again, already having issues, stupid. The person then starts floating because it's, it's demon guy, but we're not talking like a few feet. We're talking like he's 15 feet off the ground floating. And at the end of the conversation, he goes, take your cat back, B, and then spits the fully alive cat out of its mouth at her. This is not a B movie, bro. This is a movie that was released.
It's a C movie. C for cat.
Like, oh my gosh. So the movie ends, right, with her having, I barely remember, she kills somebody. Okay, she takes somebody else's life.
But doesn't she like get sucked into train tracks or something?
And assumes that the curse is over. And there's this air of like, all right, cool, we can chill now, fine. And then the guy like turns around and turns back, and she's being dragged to hell. And it was like, but that just what?
The title's called "Drag Me to Hell." I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
It's
but
like
also
the movie called "John Dies at the End." I think I know what's gonna happen in that movie.
The thing was like, it wasn't like, oh yeah, well, duh, of course she gets dragged to hell. It was like, but by the rules you set up for the curse, she should be good. Like, none of this makes sense. It's mostly the cat part. That's why I absolutely hate this movie. First of all, you're going to kill a kitten, and then you're going to have the demon spit it out of its mouth, fully alive. Okay, sure, whatever. Weird implications there, but sure, whatever, dude. Just like, I loathe this movie so much, to the point because there's certain scenes that still got me, and I was like, and like, so now like certain things in the world in traditional like horror fashion, certain things will happen in the world, like, oh yeah, I remember that movie that was absolutely garbage, and that there was a small jump scare that got me. Oh man, that makes me really mad.
So my other horror movie is from a series that I hold very dear to my heart. That whenever I go back and watch all these movies, I skip this piece of garbage. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Okay. Jesus. What?
I was really, really scared that you were going to say how much you hated Busta Rhymes, but
no, we've had this discussion many times. I see the movie as not very good, whereas Josh sees it as the Citizen Kane of horror, basically.
It's so funny!
I can see the flaws, but I still have fun with it, whereas Josh takes it serious and has fun with it. No, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is an abomination to the Halloween franchise. First of all, Michael doesn't really wear a mask. He kind of looks like if Daniel Bryan was tall, basically. He's just a wandering hobo for most of this movie. He speaks when he tells Loomis to die. He runs at full speed, which, kind of defeats the purpose of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And also, you turn one of the most badass and heroic female protagonists in horror movie history, and Laurie Strode, basically into Sherry Moon Zombie. She's just that's a low blow. I'm sure Sherry Moon is a lovely lady, but God, Laurie is just the worst to deal with. And also, the movie starts with basically trying to replicate Halloween 2, the original, the good one, the good Halloween 2, with Viola Davis as a nurse, and then the whole thing just ends up being a dream sequence. And two coroners talk about wanting to do stuff with dead bodies, but then they hit a cow and run over that. And then you get Danielle Harris, the great Danielle Harris from Halloween 4 and 5, who carried the franchise for a little bit. You brutally murder her, the only likable character in the entire movie, just off her real quick. So you're stuck with whiny, annoying, drugged out Laurie, who's just the worst. Hey, at least Margot Kidder makes a cameo. Like, that's a thing in this movie. Why not? I hate this movie so much. Every year, I will watch almost all the Halloween movies, including the first Rob Zombie's Halloween. That I can live with. 2 is just Rob Zombie Unleashed, and I hate just about every second of it. It is not a Halloween movie. I haven't even dipped into the stupidness that is the weird white horse and his mom in a white gown just going, but why? Why? But why? Why, Rob? Why? Thanks for doing the Munsters, by the way, but why? Like,
It is like, it's very interesting that like these are the movies that we're picking, like, because we could have done like, I don't know, Zombievers, which is fantastic.
Never
It's like,
seen Zombievers, so
oh bro, if you need a good chuckle, check out Zombievers. The thing that does it for me in Zombievers is that all the zombie beavers are actual puppets of zombie beavers, and you can actually see the arms sometimes. Like, we're talking like hand puppet. We're not talking like wires. It's like, no, we're talking that is an act. That is a man with a puppet on his hand. He is on the floor attacking somebody. That is the exact, like, it's, but it's the but like the fact that we're like, nah. These movies that we're supposed to be taking extremely seriously are absolute garbage.
well, maybe if the movie themselves didn't take themselves seriously.
Yes.
You know who
Correct.
doesn't take himself seriously and can enjoy a little bit of life? Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah.
I've got 2 Nicolas Cage movies. One I saw with Josh, and one I saw in theaters. Josh, let's revisit the 5 good things gem that is Nicolas Cage and Hayden Christensen's Outcast. Oh my god. Guys, in this movie, Nicolas Cage is like a weird warrior shaman thing with dead snakes on his wrists that are never addressed or acknowledged. You're just like, oh yeah, that's normal attire for a wizard.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Is it? Is it? You have Nicolas Cage, the most over-the-top, wonderful actor of all time, and the wooden plank that is Hayden Christensen in a movie together with a plot that honestly makes no sense. At least Nicolas Cage was allowed to die in this movie, so he didn't have to suffer the entire time. But God, this was one of those movies that when we did a 5 good things on it, it almost broke us of just like, why do we do this? Some movies can't be saved. Like, this is beyond redemption here. Well, granted, it was a direct-to-DVD movie, but Outcast is just...
Oh, yeah.
Why is this the thing that exists? Why was money paid awful for this?
Oh, absolutely. It's terrible. Like, I don't really have much to say about it because, like, it's just one of those movies that you see and go, yeah, that was a waste of my time. Absolutely a waste of my time. Like, most movies, I feel, even at the worst, should be like, oh, man, like, okay, that wasn't the best, but I was entertained. No, Outcast is a legitimate waste of your day. Like, and you will be thinking about it for years to come going, why was that a thing? That does what? No. Ugh. Terrible.
Now,
absolute garbage.
The other Nicolas Cage movie I saw in theaters because I knew this is either actually going to end up being a good movie or it's going to be a dumpster fire that's entertaining in how much of a dumpster fire it is. Nicolas Cage's Left Behind.
Oh my gosh.
Where the poor man is just basically sitting in a cockpit for the entire movie. So basically he spent like what, maybe 1 or 2 days on a film set and was just like, all right, money please. It has the short guy from Pirates of the Caribbean. It has Jordan Sparks and Chad Michael Murray. And I'm pretty sure the dude from The Blind Side. And I'm just going, why does this thing exist? And is that Jordan Sparks? What? Why? Jordan Sparks with a gun threatening to kill somebody? American Idol did not go her way.
Oh my gosh, dude. I think the funniest thing about the film is that it's absolute garbage, except for Nicolas Cage, who was acting his butt off for no reason.
Okay, also,
oh my gosh.
Even to the most casual person in the world, Left Behind is a very blatantly Christian book series, and the first 3 movies with Kirk Cameron are blatantly Christian movies. It's kind of weird to me that there's no Christian elements whatsoever to Left Behind, considering that's like the whole crux of why people get left behind in the first place, which Left Behind is one of the first times that I could actively think of that a moment in a movie was supposed to be shocking or scary or sad, and I laughed. Like the moment that everyone gets like taken away to heaven, like one of the main characters is hugging their brother, and then all of a sudden they do a weird freaking jump cut, and she's holding like child clothes in her arms. I'm going, oh no! They do like a strobe effect on the jump cut, and you're just like, that's the best you could come up with?
Like, bro, like, it's not. It's so laughable.
Also, another one, just this is super nitpicking, but I don't care at this point. It's Left Behind. No one cares. There's a wide shot of the house that one of the main characters lives at, and the dog's on the front lawn. The shot is out of focus! How do you get a freaking wide shot out of focus? Wide shots can focus on anything. Get at least something. It's a wide shot. How is that out of focus?
It's just terrible. It's so bad. It's there are things that like slid through there. Like there should not. It's kind of like how Cats had to have a patch for all the CGI. Like,
not for the
there's
buttholes.
No reason this should have been bad. This shouldn't have been this bad, guys. Come on.
Release the butthole cut of Cats.
No, thank you. I'm good.
Do you have any Nicolas Cage movies?
I actually have none, because all of them I can appreciate on some level, unfortunately.
National Treasure 2.
Okay, yes, but National Treasure 2 has the drunk
Wrong about us. Wrong about us. Hello.
Does the Queen object to me drinking my whiskey? Like, come on, that is just so great.
I'm actually really amazed that you remember that line specifically.
This is not the only line I remember. I can do all. It's good. It's a good time.
I love when he sticks his hand into the rock. I'm just kidding. It's just like.
It's funny because I'm like, no, like I appreciate all Nicolas Cage films, knowing that Drive Angry has a scene where he flips the car on a highway and then keeps going. It's so dumb, but I love it so much. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of dumb. There is a level of dumb that I'm not willing to accept.
Your favorite movie is Hot Rod.
Yeah, but like it's. Come on, Hot Rod is so funny. Get out of here.
You can't say there's a certain level of dumb that I won't put up with, dude.
You know really? What? No, I'm gonna lead into this. I'm gonna lead into this. You ready? You ready? There is a level. There is a point in which I, the guy who loves stupid comedies, will go. Excuse me, no, sir. And that moment in The Hobbit of Battle of the Five Armies was when Legolas was starting to jump up falling blocks. No, sir, this is not a Mario game. Get yourself back to the original trilogy. I don't need to see you. You're not even in this story. Go away.
You don't even go here.
You don't even go here. I absolutely hate Hobbit Battle of the Five Armies with a burning passion, which is really sad because after the Hobbit 2, The Desolation of Smaug, holy crap. Like the first two Hobbit movies, they're still very, they're kid movies, obviously, but they're fun. They're interesting. Even though Legolas is there and he's not supposed to be, he's fine, whatever. But here, like, literally, like, it feels like Orlando Bloom was like throwing money at Peter, just be like, hey, nah, let me do this. I'll pay you. Hey, let me do that. Like, no. The amount of anger that I felt in the theater in that moment when Legolas is like Mario jumping up, falling bricks, I was done. I was so angry.
You transition me perfectly. We'll just start talking about our just action movies in general. You rage with The Hobbit. I can live with the Hobbits. They're bad, but I can at least live with them. What I can't live with is about another movie that deals with a returning anointed king Guy Ritchie's The Legend of King Arthur.
I knew it. I knew we were going to talk about this eventually.
Oh my god, I love Charlie Hunnam. And the trailers seemed awesome. I loved Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes, as we talked about earlier. So I was like, oh cool, he's going to do it to King Arthur. We haven't had a good King Arthur movie in a while. And we still haven't had a good King Arthur movie in a while. Because I hated this movie. I get out, I feel like when I got out of the theater, Heather and I saw it together, I feel like one of the first things I said to Heather when we got out of the theater was, I'm sorry. That sucked. And she's just like, yeah, that was bad. Like, the final fight is basically a PlayStation 2 video game. I'm just going, this doesn't seem very King Arthur to me. And also, I don't want this trend to keep going, but I feel like it's still a thing that we struggle with today. Don't call a movie something if the character in question doesn't become that thing until the very end. He doesn't become King Arthur and actually set up a Knights of the Round Table until like the very last scene as like a stinger of, guys, just so you know, we've got 5 other movies planned, which they did. They had a whole King Arthur universe planned. Thank God this movie bombed, or else we get a Morgana Le Fay origin story, a Lancelot romance movie. It's awful. Charlie Hunnam, it's not your fault, man. It's what's the Parks and Rec meme with Henry Winkler? Hey, I didn't do nothing. I know. I love you. You're perfect. Go off to the side. Like that's Charlie Hunnam in this movie. I didn't do nothing wrong. No, you didn't. Go. You're excluded from this. Like, go on. But Jude Law, it's a weird freaking villain in this. Cuts off a dude's ear, just kind of because he can. It's not a good King Arthur movie. It wastes a perfectly good Jaimin Hansu, which is always like number 1 of cardinal rules of don't do that. It's just bad.
The cardinal rule of don't do that. Got it. Heard.
I need to. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that one.
Yeah, coin that phrase. You know your movie, like the end of your film, is bad when the ending to Quest for Camelot does it 4 times better than you do. Even though, like, I have a nostalgic connection.
And that movie's not good either.
See, and the only reason that I have fond memories of that movie is because for a long time that was like one of the 4 movies we owned, and so like I watched it all the time.
Have you seen the theory? Have you seen the theory out there that Cary Elwes's character isn't actually blind, but he's just using his blindness as a tool to get people to do what he wants?
I love it. Absolutely. I'm so down for it. There's so much, but the thing about Quest for Camelot is, like, while it is not a good movie, it's at least charming in some ways. The animation is interesting to look at.
Oh, you mean the animation that they stole from Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah, so anyway, we'll talk about someone who stole content and then just did an absolute pooper on it. I have a vivid memory of seeing the trailer for Dragon Ball Evolution and going, God, that looks great. We're going to have a great time. And then watching the movie in the theaters and legit crying because it was so bad, took its source material and, I don't know, put it through a shredder and then tried to put it back together and then was like, nah, let's eat it instead, and then pooped it out and then saw the poop and was like, hey, that would make a great movie. No, it wouldn't. Shut up. Go away. Oh. So everything about it is wrong. And it's so 90s cringe, and it's not even in the 90s. It's in 2000. It's a movie from 2004. I can't. Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta. So, I'm like hyperventilating. I gotta calm down. Hold on.
I have a confession while you calm down.
Okay.
1, I've never seen this movie. We haven't done a 5 good things about it yet. But 2, for years, I only ever saw the poster, like never saw the trailer or anything. And on the poster, I was convinced that the main actor that plays Goku was Jackson from Hannah Montana.
Yes!
And I was still convinced of that until I saw clips. I'm going, oh, it's not
no.
him. He probably would have been better, but not by much.
That argument will have more weight to it when you see the whole film. It's ridiculous and campy and stupid. None of the characters are who they are supposed to be. Goku is, while still like he's supposed to be airheaded and stupid, is also insensitive and doesn't care for his friends. Bulma's there for reasons. It's not good. It's not good at all.
Don't worry, guys. No. We had Piccolo.
So anyway, and your Kamehameha only works because he has to jump with. No, it's a beam. It goes up. It continues. Okay. Anyway, I don't want to get into an anime rant because I'll do it. But like this movie, it was I think my first like real experience with something
with disappointment.
That I paid like $20 to go see a film at an AMC theater. Yeah, I saw it on opening day, Nate. I saw it on opening day.
How was it $20? Dude, the Dolby Prime Cinemas near me, like the most high end. Trust me, I look for Doctor Strange tickets. They're $18. Like, what jank theater are you going to, man? Like, IMAX in LA?
Dude, it was bad. But I was like, it was one of those, like, I just saw it and was so upset because I had dragged my girlfriend at the time to it, and she, like...
Well, now I know she's not the girlfriend anymore.
Yeah, that's a long story for another day, but it had...
It's all Dragon Ball's fault.
Yes, you know what? It wasn't me. I wasn't a toxic gaslighter in that relationship. No, it was Dragon Ball!
So I guess you could say there was no evolution to that relationship.
All right, so anyway, moving on.
So just to balance Josh out, that's Josh's epic rant movie. For anybody that has listened to the podcast for any length of time knows what my epic rant movie is. Russell Crowe's Robin Hood.
All right.
Josh, I'm sure Josh still remembers this episode. Like,
I have vivid memory of us doing the 5 good things. And I was like, it was fine. And you were like, no, and here's why.
So, a refresher course on why it's bad. So, the whole premise of Robin Hood is he's a hero that defends Sherwood Forest until the one day good King Richard can come back and reclaim his throne from his evil Prince John, who that's why toilets are named Prince John. Well, that's why all toilets are named the John. And yes, directly from Men in Tights, but so far Men in Tights is the best Robin Hood movie ever made, and it's weird to say. Besides the Errol Flynn one, that's a masterpiece. King Richard dies in the first 15 minutes. There truly is no hope for Sherwood Forest, but that's okay, because Robin doesn't live in Sherwood Forest for some reason. He just lives on a farm and steals some other guy's wife, but it's okay, because his father-in-law is like, hey, marry my daughter because you seem cool. I don't trust you, but you seem cool enough to marry my daughter. Oh, we don't steal from the rich or give to the poor. We're just gonna be dicks to everybody. I don't shoot a bow and arrow, except very sparingly. I'm going to lead a revolution. Viva la revolution against Prince John, played by Oscar Isaac, of all things, in a role that he was clearly not meant for. Not yet ready for prime time, in the words of SNL. They only steal from the rich one time. Worst of all, he's not even Robin Hood. He steals the name from somebody else. He literally steals the identity of somebody else, going, I am Robin Hood. I am Robin of Locksley. No, that dead guy over there, who's indicative of this franchise right now, dead, that's Robin of Locksley. You just stole some guy's name, didn't act like Robin Hood, not even at the end. Like, at least in King Arthur, he becomes King Arthur with the Round Table by the end of it. By the end of this, he's just Russell Crowe. It's just Gladiator with a little bit of green, and it's not even the right green. It's supposed to be Lincoln green. That's the one color that you're supposed to get right. It's Lincoln green. They repeat it over and over again in the books. It is Lincoln green. I don't know what costume department they were working with, but it's not right. Anyway.
Aww.
In the words of Christmas Vacation, hallelujah, holy crap. Where's the Tylenol?
Yeah, no, I have a vivid memory of that like post-recording meeting we had of the 5 good things. And I was like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. And you're like, look, I'm not gonna be able to say this on the video, so I'm gonna have to rant for a second. I was like, oh no.
In the words of Big Fat
man.
Liar, I got some R-rated dialogue for you, but I'm gonna keep it PG. I'm gonna keep it PG. That's my thoughts about Robin Hood. I saw it once, and that's one too many times, and I'm gonna need blood pressure medication if I ever have to see that movie again.
Oh man.
On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, in terms of, I wasn't raging. I just sat there with my family going, did any of us like that whatsoever? Which normally when a movie ends, at least one of us, either me, my mom, or my dad, will just sit there and go, oh, that wasn't too bad. But no, this was the first time in history that all three of us looked at each other and goes, did any of us like this movie? DreamWorks Puss in Boots. Screw this movie. God, I hate Puss in Boots.
I was wondering how much.
It's so stupid. Like, I don't have words for it. I really don't. It was back in the day when Zach Galifianakis was still a thing. He plays Humpty Dumpty, who is secretly the bad guy. I guess you could say he's cracked, maybe. But Antonio Banderas, I love Antonio Banderas. Puss in Boots was a decent enough character. What was this? Bad. That's what it was. The only good thing that came out of the Puss in Boots was that gif of the one cat that goes, ooh. Like, that's the only, you know exactly what gif I'm talking about. That's the only good thing that came out of Puss in Boots. I hate this movie. I'm done talking about it.
Oh. All right. I'll keep the theme. So, dang, I could do 2 movies on my list of this. There's been 2 times that my dad and I have seen a movie, and we've both been like, what was that? First time, unfortunately, was the biggest disappointment for me with The Green Knight. I hate that this is on.
Wow, I thought you said you weren't gonna put this on there.
The more I thought about it, the more I was like, no, I have to. It's up there. I think part of the reason that I hate this so much is that I was so disappointed, because I had high expectations and I really wanted to like this movie. And it is absolutely gorgeous and well acted. The pacing is fine. But if I'm going to have to watch a man get ejaculated on screen, I need an explanation as to why it's happening. You can't just do that kind of thing.
There is. He's not worthy to be a knight.
No. But no. It's just not and the way the movie ends is kind of like, okay, I get it, but like it's also not as satisfactory. At least to me. Maybe I'm stupid and I need more word to explain me, please. But
that's always a very likely scenario.
It is, but I just, for a movie that was so beautiful and well acted, like when my dad won't trust me anymore to take him to my little artsy films. Like I was like, hey Dad, you want to go with me to go see The Northman? And he's like, is it gonna be like The Green Knight? I was like, I can't guarantee it.
It's gonna have 2 naked guys fighting on top of a volcano. Is that something you're into?
I was like, yeah, it's gonna be really cool Viking stuff. And then instantly I thought about the scene that's gonna be at the end. And I was like, maybe he's not gonna like this. Oh no.
It's sword on sword. Sword on sword.
Speaking of sword on sword, I have, this is going somewhere, trust me.
It better be.
The most recent movie on this list that I absolutely hate is The Power of the Dog. It was nominated for at the Oscars. I know you're face palming right now, but you know that connection is perfect.
Could you have picked a better / worse segue?
No, I could not have.
Power of the Downward Dog.
this movie that like wants to tell you that the main character is gay but doesn't want to come out and say it, and wants it kind of alludes that one of the other main characters is gay but doesn't want to come out and say it, wants to have all of your characters interact with the world that it's created in a very positive and like it looks like, all right, cool, these are just people living their lives, but then slaps really foreboding music over it, giving you this really confusing sense like I don't know what I'm supposed to be feeling, which is fine, if that's one or two scenes, okay, cool. But when it's the whole 2-hour runtime, no. And then when you have, all right, this guy's our main character, cool, I love it. He's kind of a prick, but maybe he'll go through a like a life lesson, an arc through this film. No, he doesn't, because the main character is actually the boy. Because spoiler, he kills the guy that's in the trailer that you think that he's the main character. It just none of it makes sense. They allude to certain things that they never set up the entire film. No, it's bad. It's so bad. I hated it. I don't know. And the worst part is when I finished, I was like, I absolutely hate this movie, but I unfortunately can see exactly why this would be an Oscar movie. Because gosh dang did it take itself too seriously? It was artsy in the snobby way. It was so bad. I was so mad. And again, I watched it with my dad, not knowing that there was going to be some gay themes. And like when it kind of like obviously points at the main character being gay, and my dad was like, what? I was like, I'm not ready for this. I was not ready for this conversation. And the movie ends and the credits are rolling, and my dad just goes, yeah, so that happened. I was like, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I'm sorry. I don't do this to you on purpose.
Do you need to screen your movies before you watch them with your dad
now?
You just have to stick to the ones with the animal figures, with the animal action movies.
You know what? I don't need you calling me out again on that.
Okay. One that I don't feel strong hatred towards, just strong disinterest. Men in Black International. This movie almost put me to sleep. Like, I genuinely almost fell asleep in the theater. And not just because it was those nice reclining seats. It was like a little bed. But it's bad when I predict the entire movie off your first trailer. And I'm not a smart person. Usually,
somebody clip that. Hold on, somebody clip that.
Somebody will, I'm sure.
Yeah, because we totally have an editor that's not you.
95% of the work here. But if I guess the big plot twist that, for the 5 people of you that might actually care, that Liam Neeson is actually the bad guy, shocker. Saw that coming a mile away, but everything else, it's just so bland and boring. It's almost like the actors didn't want to be there. Oh, wait, they didn't. They hired their own screenwriters to fix their own dialogue because they hated the movie so much. The director was actively trying to get himself fired from the movie. That's how you know you're watching a winner.
Love that. Jeez.
I love Rebecca Ferguson. She's great in The Greatest Showman and the Mission Impossible movies and Dr. Sleep. Completely wasted in here. It's just a multi-armed villain. You ruined Chris Hemsworth. Almost said Chris Evans. All the Chris's are just generic, good-looking white guys. They kind of blend together after a while. They're all one Chris. They're all Crisco. I don't know. You wasted Valkyrie, Tessa Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the worst movie in the world, but God, it's boring. Also, I'm just thinking back to previous Man in Black movies, and I almost completely forgot Johnny Knoxville was in one of them at one point. He's in the second one, which, if you would have told me that Johnny Knoxville would have had the most fun match at WrestleMania this year, I would not have believed you. But dude, Johnny Knoxville and the Jackass Crew versus Sami Zayn is what I live for. Seeing Wee Man actually pick up and body slam Sami Zayn, good stuff. I'm sure Jim Cornette just loved every second of that match.
Well, good old Jimmy doesn't like a lot of wrestling. I have 2 more like non-superhero ones, and then I got 3 superhero ones.
Yep, I got 3 superheroes and 3 action. So
All right, let's talk about one that's probably going to be universal for you and I, and it's for the most part universal for the world. Catwoman is an absolutely
that's a superhero movie.
So anyway, Scarface is an absolutely terrible movie, and
Okay,
is on
John
my list.
Mulaney.
No. You don't understand.
Yes,
I hated
John
this
Mulaney.
movie. I hated this movie, and then John Mulaney gave me the power to say something about it.
For all that don't know what I'm talking about here, John Mulaney is one of my favorite stand-up comedians. He's great, but he's got this great bit about, like, I hate Scarface. I don't understand why it's so popular. And he's just like, worst of all, I hate when people lump it together with better movies. Like, you know, I like movies like The Godfather and Scarface. He's like saying, oh yeah, some of my favorite foods are salmon and Skittles. Like,
I agree. And like some of the guys that like some of the boys that I'm in a group chat with that I used to wrestle with, and then they love this movie, and it is a routine running gag because I refuse to find anything good about Scarface, and they refuse to find anything good about Star Wars because they're stupid gang. Yeah, I know. But we'll forgive them for this. But God, Scarface is
do
not
they listen
good.
to the pod?
They do.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
they already
Just
know
like
about Josh's trash opinions.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. No, okay, but Scarface. The worst part is it's been a long time since I've seen it, and I did promise them that I was going to rewatch it, and I haven't yet. So, but you have a movie that whose character is in large quotation marks, an anti-hero. No, he's a terrible person the entire film, and you just trying to explain away his actions just shows how toxic you are, because he is not a good person, and this is not a guy you should be cheering for. And to me, and you know this about me, if I can't get behind your main character in any sort of way emotionally, there's no point for me to be in this film.
Y'all, and Josh still has a hatred for the original Karate Kid because, to be fair, Daniel is just the worst.
He's terrible. He is bad, and I understand. But like, and I've eased off the Karate Kid gas a little bit just because
Cobra Kai fixed him.
Cobra Kai is a thing, and even though I haven't taken the time to watch it, I understand what they've done, and I will allow it. But that doesn't change the fact that your main character in Scarface is like, hi, yes, I run a Coke business, but I also am a terrible person. Like, no, like when he's like, when everybody's coming for him and he's like, nah, like this is my last stand. Like I want him to die. I want him to get him killed because he's not. I have a big issue with trying to cheer for characters that are they're absolute trash bags. Whatever. I don't want to talk about Scarface anymore because it just irritates the crap out of me. I get so annoyed with it.
Let's talk. There's 2 2019 movies that I was just like, wow, these both suck. Well, we'll save the one that y'all know about for a second, but Rambo Last Blood. Why did this get made? God, this is trash. Like, you expect with a Rambo, like, big, bloody action. That's the last 10 minutes of this movie. It's like, when it chooses to be, it's a violent Rambo movie. But in terms of, like, the actual violence, it's probably the least violent Rambo movie. Because, like, you want to see Rambo as a rancher? He's just doing horse stuff? No? Why not? Like, it's so bad. It's so boring. I think I did almost fall asleep at one point. Like, this is not what we signed up for a Rambo movie. We come for the PTSD trauma with some political commentary, but a lot of brutal violence. It has this heavy-handed message about the Mexican drug cartel, which I'm like, okay. Okay, sure. It would have been better if Rambo died at the end. Would have saved us a lot of trouble for the next movie. If there is going to be a next movie. I hope to God there's not a next movie. Because that's the frustrating thing is, the last Rambo movie in 2008, just called Rambo, that's my favorite in the entire franchise. That movie's awesome. It's violent and brutal, and he basically cuts a guy in half with a machine gun. It's fantastic. He's got little explosives on the tip of his arrow. That's cool. Like, that's violence is fun. Somebody clip that one. Rambo Last Blood. It's uncomfortable, boring violence. Like, it's not even cool. Like, characters die in this that are supposed to have emotional weight to them, just going, I feel nothing. You are nothing characters. I would rather watch the first Purge movie than you. And that's saying something, because that's not particularly great either. However, the movie that got my blood pressure the most boiling in 2019 that isn't a Jurassic Park movie, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Jeebus. What is this movie? Like, it's a failure to understand basic writing principles and also basic cinematography principles. Here, let's shoot all of our character interactions like a freaking Wes Anderson movie of tight close-ups on people's faces, but have weird dialogue and just word vomit exposition because we can't be bothered to show and not just tell. We have to explain everyone's 3-page Wikipedia page when we're introducing people. Oh, you're confused by this plot because it's a character that you've never met or been introduced before? Too bad! Next! Oh, new storyline. Johnny Depp's in this. Nope, no he's not. Not anymore, he's not. You having fun yet? We're exploring new worlds in the Wizarding World. Whiplash? Oh, yeah, he's going to be introduced in the next movie. No, I have Whiplash. What are you doing to me? Oh, you don't like where we're going with? We're going to have Queenie turn to the dark side now. But doesn't that kind of go against her entire story arc? Nah, man, story arcs don't mean jack in this movie. Like, there's no story arcs. There's no sense of direction. We just go from place to place. There's no logic or any reason whatsoever in the Crimes of Grindelwald. It's just bad. I hate it. And I won't be seeing the next one for a variety of reasons, but number one, the last one sucked! This franchise needs to die! Yes, they deserve to die!
Much like the kid that Grindelwald kills on screen. Anyway, yeah, no, it's bad. I personally don't hate it only for that opening, like 10, 15 minutes. It's kind of that when he's escaping the prison, like that's, it's pretty solid, like Harry Potter shenanigans. Love it. I'm surprised it's taken us this long. There is no redeeming qualities about Avatar: The Last Airbender movie. No.
You're right, there's not one. There's 5. Shameless plug for Practical Things.
I hate it.
Off the top of my head, there are 2 redeeming qualities about Last Airbender.
Okay, sure. Tell me. And it can't be the penis head.
The cinematography that gave us the penis head. The cinematography is not bad. And 2, the costume design is really excellent. The characters, until they open their mouths, look pretty decent. I mean, if you swapped out the nationalities. But in terms of what they're wearing and their aesthetic of the world, yeah, the nationalities are completely wrong.
To the fact that they literally gave all of the lore for The Last Airbender the giant middle finger. It's a great time. It's not like
the Indian people are the bad guys, and all the white people are good. The white Eskimos.
Which is no. You're reading it wrong. Okay. This is an M. Night Shyamalan film, okay? So the Indians are the most powerful. That is why they are oppressive to everyone else. And it's not possible to have, I don't know, that's not the word I want to use. Native American actors for your water tribe people. No. We must get 2 white kids and then cast all of the extras as Native American. No. We can't do that.
Hey,
also, again, let's make our main character. No. I ain't finished. Let's make our main character a kid who's never acted before. It was just a karate champion, even though that doesn't translate. But sure, whatever. Also, let's pretend that we know better and can pronounce his name better than 3 seasons of television, but sure, whatever. I agree. The cinematography is fantastic.
Costume designs are perfect. It's just the people in the costumes.
Yes, but the bending is awful. The action is terrible. There's just
okay. Now let's do the impossible task. Let's pretend that we have not seen the greatest animated kids show of all time that's not Batman animated series, that is Avatar: The Last Airbender, and just watch it as a movie. It still fails because the dialogue is terrible, the delivery of said dialogue is terrible, and worst of all, you don't actually have Mark Hamill as Fire Lord Ozai. Like he is. That's the biggest crime of all. Also, like, you basically try to condense a season's worth of television into a 2-hour movie of, like, when, spoiler alert, when Zuko is the Blue Ninja. That's a big deal in the show. That's an awesome reveal because you never would have seen it coming. In this, they're like, well, it was a cool moment on the show, so let's put it in there. Cool. Thank God they didn't at least get to any of the good characters. Like, at least we didn't see Azula. Well, no, they did tease Azula at the end of this movie. At least they didn't have Toph, because don't mess with Toph, because she's the best. Although I would have been really curious to see what a live-action version of Boomy would have looked like. I just picture swole Gary Busey, basically.
So, what's crazy, too, is it's not 2 hours. It's just over an hour and a half.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, it's 103 minutes. It's just over an hour and a half.
Yes, let's try and force in Sokka's love angle with the Moon Princess. Let's just shoehorn that in when it's not actually relevant. Let's hey, at least Appa and Momo looked cool. But I mean,
they look great.
That's hard to mess up. But like, let's just juggle a season's worth of storylines into an hour and a half movie. Great.
That works, right? Yeah,
I can't even give you the Simpsons gif of at least you tried, because I don't think they did.
No, they didn't.
My rule of thumb with Shyamalan is he makes good movies when 2 things happen. He has a low budget, and he has 0 expectations on him. Any expensive movie, or movies where people think it's going to be good, it doesn't do well. The reason why Split and The Visit are so good, and no one was paying attention to them until right before they came out because people had written off Shyamalan. Then they're like, oh God, he's on a win streak. He's got Split. He's got The Visit. Now he's going to do Glass. Glass had a big budget and it had expectations. That's my theory. That's my Shyamalan formula. A plus B equals C crap. That's the formula right there.
You're all full of the sayings today, man. We're going to have to coin a bunch of these. Oh my gosh. No, yeah. Avatar. Sorry, it's not Avatar: The Last Bender. It's The Last Airbender. Is absolute garbage.
This is the only time I'll pat the back of the blue people, because Avatar, the blue people, got the copyright first. Thank you for that, so we don't have to call this garbage an Avatar movie. We could just call it Ong the Last Airbender.
God. As soon as he opened, and to be fair, the opening of the film isn't terrible. It's okay. But as soon as they're like, I was like, I'm sorry, what was his name? You want to say that again there, bud? It's so bad. Like, to the point, like, I think outside of this conversation, I do not acknowledge that this movie exists because it's so bad. Oh my gosh.
So let's
you and I could rip into this film so much, but we probably shouldn't.
We've got 3 superhero movies left. Josh tipped his hand. One of the worst movies we've ever seen in our entire lives. Like, Catwoman is the dictionary definition of how to do literally everything wrong. You have bad music, bad dialogue, bad acting, bad cinematography, bad editing, bad color correcting. How the hell do you do bad color correcting this side of the Matrix? Just bad costume design, bad villain, bad lead actress, bad. Like, just Catwoman. It's cat space woman. It's an actual cat person. Like that's not what Catwoman. The only good thing about this, trust us, we tried to find 5 good things. Most of it we just talked out of our butt and made crap up. But the only good thing about Catwoman is that it has 0 connection to the DC Comics character. She's not in Gotham. Her name isn't Selena. She doesn't know any Bruces. Thank God there's no connections to tarnish the legacy. Like, this is just a dumpster. I would rather watch Batman and Robin for the rest of my life than Catwoman one more time. Because
oh god,
it just gets everything wrong, and I don't understand it. How is it that normally in superhero movies you've got the starter costume, the homemade one, and then they eventually upgrade to their actual costume? How is her homemade costume actually pretty good and pretty fitting for Catwoman, and then you get BDSM sex dungeon Halle Berry for the rest of the movie? And I'm going, so the director is a 13-year-old boy that saw Monsters Ball? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, that's exactly what happening. What happened? What is happening?
The happening? What?
The happening? Okay, so this is like traditional Josh ADHD brain thinking here, okay? I promise this is still about Catwoman, okay? So I have been listening to a new podcast lately called Dungeons and Daddies. It's a D&D podcast where they open every episode with, "Hi, welcome to Dungeons and Daddies. This is not a BDSM podcast. This is a D&D podcast." And it's about 4 dads.
D&D.
Yes, 4 dads that get taken to a fantasy world, and they're like, we're talking like there's a sports dad, a granola dad, a rock, like a hair metal dad. Like it's hilarious.
Do you need a napkin for being such a sweaty?
Exactly. So the reason I bring it up is because anytime anyone makes a dad joke, everyone in the area takes damage, like mental damage. Like, and watching this movie, and every time they have a quote unquote quip, I literally feel years of my life leaving my body. I love a good dad joke, but these are absolute hot, messy garbage. Like, it just rained and now it's 90 degrees out, and the trash heap got wet. Like, it's so bad. What? It is. That's actually like a very specific thing to Texas. Unfortunately, it's because it would like rain and like garbage bags would be out or whatever, and they get rained on, and then like within 5 minutes it's 100 degrees again, and so you have like wet, smelly garbage that's also the smell being spread because it's so hot at the same time. It's gross. Yeah. Anyway, no, Catwoman's terrible, and it's like even Halle Berry is like, no, like this is an awful movie.
She accepted her Razzie, so good on her for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what are your other 2 superhero movies? Don't you dare say Civil War, because I know you're thinking about it, because you're that kind of troll.
No, I was gonna say Dark Knight Rises. I hate Dark Knight Rises so much.
So you would rather watch Batman Forever than Dark Knight Rises?
Yes, absolutely.
You'd rather watch Batman versus Superman than Dark Knight Rises?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. If anybody knows a good co-host for a podcast, submit emails too.
Oh my god. No, like, I mean, I've never been quiet
Dark
about
Knight
how
Rises
much
kill
I like
your
it.
family or something, that you have this much of a vendetta?
No.
Ooh.
Oh no.
This is the real Sophie's choice for Josh.
Oh no.
Watch The Dark Knight Rises back to back, so twice. That's how back to back works.
Wow, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Or play one run through of Arkham Knight. Josh chooses death instead.
I'll just kill it myself.
He just does that gif from IT crowd where he just opens the window and jumps out. Just
like, I think what's funny is, at least I'd finished The Dark Knight Rises. I was in like an hour and a half of gameplay of the Arkham Knight, and I was like, yeah, I can't take this anymore. I'm good. Bye. And I don't quit games. I don't quit games.
So
that's not a thing I do often.
And this is where I piss off Josh even more.
Got it.
So my mindset when playing God of War, I'm sorry, I can't get into God of War. I have tried repeatedly because I know it's Josh's favorite. Like, it means something, so it's got to be a great game, and I'm sure it is. I can't get into it. It's so freaking repetitive. I just spam the Thor hammer chuck basically. I'm like, it's pretty. Calling a boy is fun and demeaning, but
because it's quite great. I know it's not for everybody, and it's one of those like it's why I allow people to have their opinions of my favorite things, and which is why it's okay for me to absolutely detest The Dark Knight Rises.
Way to bring it back. Way to bring it back.
Yeah. I got you. I'm here. This is why I'm a good co-host. Don't fire me.
Fire would imply that you get paid.
Oh crap! Yeah, you're
Voluntold.
Right. No, like when your whole movie can be boiled down to like, I'm not Batman, I need to become Batman again. Okay, I'm Batman again. Oh no, I'm not Batman again. I need to become Batman again. I guess I'm now Batman again. And on the other side of the planet somehow, oh look, now I've done my thing. I'm good. I don't want to be Batman anymore. Like and then you have the worst villain gotcha at the end where it's like, it was Talia the whole time. I was like, oh cool. So all that time you spent building Bane up to be this, if we're quite honest, a pretty good villain, is now just gone because you wanted Talia to be the thing. I hate the movie. I dislike that there's a lot of story issues with it. I understand following The Dark Knight, how are you going to wrap that trilogy up? Sure, whatever. I just don't like The Dark Knight Rises.
So I got much bigger fish to fry because I cast a wider net. Ooh.
Yes. Ooh, there you go.
I'm on fire tonight.
Yeah.
So, Fan Four Stick. God.
Hey, that's my next one. Let's go.
The movie that doesn't know what light bulbs are and just chooses to shoot in dark rooms for some reason because they didn't have the budget for lighting, I guess. Like, the thing is, it doesn't start off too bad. It starts off boring, but then you can almost like pinpoint the exact moment that the studio got involved and going, oh, Kate Mara has different hair now. What up with that? Why is not the Rock? Why
is the Rock thing?
Why does the thing look like actual diarrhea? Like he looks like the weird poop that's like cobbled together that doesn't look right. This is such a bad movie. Then you have Crash Test Dummy Doctor Doom that they don't even call Doctor Doom in one of the worst ADR jobs I've ever seen when they clearly put in Von Doom in post-production because of fan backlash. This movie's just awful. Like, dark, gritty tone doesn't really fit with Fantastic Four. And also just no one wants to be there, which, was the case during filming. Miles Teller getting in actual fights with Josh Trank. Like, everyone is just sleepwalking through this movie, except for one. Oh, hell, Michael B. Jordan, you tried your best. Michael B. Jordan lived long enough and died a villain in the MCU.
Let's go.
So that's the ultimate redemption. And now he's going to get just smacked by Jonathan Majors in Creed 3.
Yes,
we didn't make that news topic, but holy crap.
That
Run!
picture, he is jacked.
Dave Chappelle meme. Run! No, not Dave
Oh,
Chappelle.
dude.
Wayne's brother. Fan Four Stick is just... I didn't see it in theaters, and I didn't see it for a while. I had heard all the backlash. Obviously, we knew Josh Trank getting fired off Star Wars, probably because of this movie. So I eventually see it, and Heather and I are like, how bad could it be? Hour and 45 minutes later. Oh, that's how bad it can be. Like, this is a steaming pile. Heather and I still to this day make fun of it. Of like when we see it in the $5 bin, we're like, that's $5 too many. Like, it. At least most of the people in this movie's careers have recovered, but This is one of the worst superhero movies of all time.
I was like, what would be interesting? Let's change race for a certain characters. Not an issue
But
whatsoever.
only one of
Cool,
them.
but only one of them, and it makes it interesting. It does add a certain layer that I did enjoy, but also let's make none of them have any actual chemistry together. Let's make it seem like they're just acquaintances at work, and that they have to be there because they're paid to, oh wait. Like, I just, God, it is so boring and it's dark. And like, and not like, ooh, DC's so dark.
No,
No,
Alien
like,
Requiem. Alien versus Predator Requiem.
oh God, like where you could barely tell anything. Everything's grayscaled. Like none of the characters have anything to do with their source material. It's just so bad. And
it's a superhero movie that's embarrassed to be a superhero movie.
yeah.
So
Oh
they're
my
just
gosh.
like, we're just gonna science this. So was that your last one, Josh, or you got one more?
Yeah, that's all I got, my dude.
Because
At least for this list, I have some other stuff I could, but like I was like, you know what? This good solid 10, I think is that's I think I'll stay there. I don't want to rant for too long.
So I got one more. Superman 3.
Okay.
I know a lot of people are expecting me to say Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, because that is also hot garbage.
Very, very bad.
With Nuclear Man. And if you do not stop, I will hurt people. And like he gets in a little scratching fight with Superman. I kind of let that one off the hook a little bit in terms of it got its budget slashed by a third, or like down to a third of its original budget, like right before filming. Christopher Reeve's heart was in the right place. This movie just had a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm.
I think Superman 4: The Quest for Peace is a lot like Batman and Robin in the same way that Superman 3 is a lot like Batman Forever. Of both of those movies are bad, but because the next movie is so much worse, we overlook how bad the other one is. And I don't want to overlook how god-awful Superman 3 is. Here's the premise. I love that Lois Lane, Margot Kidder, was pissed that the director of the first two movies wasn't brought back for the third one. So her character literally just goes, "Hey guys, remember, I'm going on my Hawaiian vacation," and dips right after that for the entire movie. After the first scene, she's like, "Hey guys, remember, I've got vacation," and she shows up in the last scene going, "What did I miss while I was away on vacation?" But also, she wasn't the only actor that didn't want to come back. Gene Hackman didn't want to come back as Lex Luthor, so they just happened to have some other really, really rich guy that controls Metropolis with his money that totally isn't Lex Luthor, but has his own company and runs all of the city. But he's not Lex Luthor, guys. Stop thinking about Lex Luthor. He and Richard Pryor have a plan that Richard Pryor basically skims off like little pennies off of everyone's paycheck, like half cents of everyone's paycheck in his company, thereby giving him like thousands of extra dollars each paycheck, and he's just skimming off the top of his company and going, this feels like a completely different Richard Pryor movie. But this is also
this feels like Richard Pryor in real life. That's crazy.
There's a whole lot less N-words in this movie though than Richard Pryor in real life.
That's true.
This is also the movie with evil Superman. So Zack Snyder's Superman. Yes, I went there.
Got him.
The Superman that sits in a bar and gets drunk and then just fights Clark Kent. That's a super bizarre scene. However, at least we get some nice scenes with Superman going back to Smallville and hanging out with Lana Lang, which fun bit of trivia there. Lana Lang in Superman 3 is played by Annette O'Toole, who would go on and play Martha Kent on Smallville. So there's that fun little connection.
That's kind of cool.
That's the only good scenes is when he's in Smallville. I'm going, a Lana that I can actually enjoy as I'm halfway through Smallville and want to just send Lana on a long walk off a short pier. She's just the worst. But Superman 3, he fights like a robot lady at the end that will give any children nightmares because it's horrifying. It's like Return to Oz levels of terrifying. It's just bad. Like, I know Quest for Peace is worse, but there's a lot of contributing factors around that production, whereas 3, there's a lot less excuses for why it's as bad as it is, and I'm just going, Why is Superman teaming up with Richard Pryor? Blazing Superman? Hey.
No.
It just makes me sad. It's real bad. At least the fourth one, like, you can get some comedy fun out of how bad it is.
Yeah.
The third one is just painful.
Yeah, no, I agree. This wasn't supposed to be like a bit where we're like, hey, a lot of the movies that we saw on our 5 good things are movies that we hate. You should totally go check them out, but totally go check them out. But no, yeah, like it's really fun.
If you want to see our videos without the production quality.
Yeah. Anyway,
if you like having the microphone 10 feet away and 720 video,
oh man,
probably overexposed and with only like one good video with good color correction and know what we're doing. Then it's not like I was in college for video production at the time or anything.
Yeah, no, not at all, not at all. But yeah, no, like it definitely has affected the way that I watch movies, and like even like these movies. Like I think we've done it multiple times in this discussion. It was hard to like completely hate most of these. I mean, obviously, like
except Robin Hood.
Yeah, you will never forgive Robin Hood
never.
for what it did. But I mean, like even stuff like Dark Knight Rises, I absolutely hate, but I can, if I'm convinced otherwise, accept that there are some good stuff in it. But like. It's very interesting to talk to people and be like, okay, why did you hate that movie? What? Because there's been movies like I love that you love that I was like, it's fine. Like what was that movie that we watched when I was down there?
Hell House LLC.
Hell House. You were like, I love this is great, and I was like, it was cool.
It's got good scares, and it has interesting lore to it.
Yeah, kind of.
No,
if you don't look at if you don't look into it,
you like the lore. You didn't like the characters being stupid, which I get your criticism, yeah. But no, minus the characters, Hell House has interesting lore and has some darn good scares. Tell me you weren't scared when the camera pans to the dude at the top of the stairs.
Okay, well the first one is pretty solid. It's characters are stupid for no other reason than. Well, they're stupid. They don't notice things because, that character's not supposed to notice that. So just be okay with that. But regardless, it's very interesting. Like whenever I take my dad to the movies, I'm like, okay, well, why didn't you like that? What about it did you not like? Obviously, Power of the Dog and Green Knight aside, but like yeah, it's always interesting to me to see at what is the mark for us that positivity is no longer something like our fuel for positivity is gone. Yeah, what's the breaking point?
What's the tap out point of just nope?
Yeah, so it's just I love it. Yeah. Terrible movies are fun sometimes.
Sometimes. Well, what do you guys think? What are the worst movies that you have ever seen? Like, no redeeming qualities. You've just either movies that everyone else loves that you just can't stand. Whatever your thoughts, let us know in the comments below. Am I completely off? Is Josh completely off like we already know he is? Whatever your thoughts, comment down below. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on whatever audio platform listening to it on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or YouTube. And if you haven't already, again, reminder, subscribe to us on YouTube. Help us get to 700 subscribers before the end of the year. That's our main goal. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.